Sorry about that. The the video shot out a little quicker than I thought it was going to. So neurons, again, need a constant supply of glucose and oxygen. Those are the main nutrients that they need. In fact, neurons are one of the only cells in our body that rely heavily on glucose, and they're almost incapable of using fatty acids for metabolism, so they need glucose. They're amitotic, meaning they don't divide, right? They conduct the nerve impulses for control of the body, and as well as receiving information, sensory input. And you have that blood-brain barrier that's maintained by astrocytes. Very important to understand. Understand that. It is important to understand all of the parts of the brain and what does what. We're going to be relating that back to the rest of the body this semester in terms of control and feedback loops and things like that. So you should understand the function of the cerebrum, the cerebellum, hypothalamus, pons, medulla oblongata. You don't have to go back and remember all of the primary sensory and primary motor and, Wernicke's area and all of that stuff for this semester, but you should be familiar with the main regions of the brain and what they do in relationship to the rest of the body. Again, this semester is really about painting that big picture for you and really putting the whole body together. It is important to understand our cranial nerves as well as the parts of the brain. The main cranial nerves that play a role this semester are the hypoglossal and the vagus nerve. Those are the two big ones that we visit when we do digestion and respiration and cardiovascular. Vagus is really the main one, but hypoglossal plays a role as well. Accessory does a little bit also, but those are the big ones that you should be familiar with. Quick review of the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is our rest and digest, right? That's our acetylcholine receptors, the nicotinic, the muscarinic. The majority of our parasympathetic input is coming through that vagus nerve. Sympathetic is our norepinephrine, our androgenic receptors. This is our excitability. This is the information that's carried by the adrenal medulla and the ganglia throughout the body. This is, fight or flight. Get us up, get our heartbeat up, get our heart rate up, slow digestion, right? Increased respiration. Whereas parasympathetic is the exact opposite. Slow the heart rate, slow the respiration, increase digestion. So, complete opposites there. And then hormones. I wrote yikes because those are always thrown in at the end of last semester, and it is super important that you understand them. So I would spend the majority of this week familiarizing yourself with those hormones and what they do, because you're going to be revisiting them in a different context this semester, where they come from, what they do, what their target organ or target tissue is. Very important, because we do have some non-endocrine organs that have endocrine functions as we go through this semester. This is just the charts, the pituitary gland, the anterior and posterior, and the hormones that they secrete, and thyroid, parathyroid. The pancreas we'll look at in more detail this semester with insulin and glucagon and their roles in digestion, and the adrenal glands, and the gonads we'll look at when we cover reproduction. Other hormones from the non-endocrine organs, things like the stomach and the small intestine, have a small regulatory system put into place, and gastrin and ghrelin and secretin and CCK are the big hormones that function in those areas. The heart and kidney actually have endocrine functions as well as our adipocytes, our actual fat cells, have hormones that are associated with them also. Quick review of homeostasis. It's important to understand the difference between positive and negative feedback loops. So you might want to look back at chapter 1, and review that just because it's called negative feedback doesn't mean it's a bad thing. You should understand that it's really just turning off the switch, right? Positive feedback, go, 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 go until the stimulus is done. Right? Quick review of tissues and membranes. The four main types of tissues. You have epithelial coverings and linings are muscular tissue, right? The three types of muscular tissues. The two types of nervous tissue are connective tissue and their functions throughout the body. They all have a basal lamina or lamina propria, kind of rooting them in or forming an attachment structure. And in general, when we're talking about tissues, endo, that prefix endo, means the innermost, epi means most superficial. Think about those like muscle layers, like the endomysium, the paramecium, the epimecium, and how those relate. It's the same idea here. You're going to see those same terms repeated over and over again. And then membranes, our serous membranes that are made of epithelial tissue. They have those inner and outer linings, right? The visceral and the parietal layers have that serous fluid in between them for lubrication. There's their function to divide the body cavities, and these, of course, are the right and left pleural, the peritoneum, and the pericardium. Those are the serous membranes of the body. And I think that might, yep, that's it. So what should you do with this information? Of course, listen to this video a million times if you need to. I know I talk fast. This was my first time using this app. I'll get better at it, I promise. So, you know, I was kind of a little bit glitchy. But as we go through this semester, I'll be making more of these little short videos to go through and cover specific topics in detail for you. To help you with your studying and your learning. So listen to this as many times as you need to. There's a couple of review assignments that are associated with it that you can submit, and I may be using them for extra credit later on this semester. Haven't quite decided yet. So good luck. Keep me posted if you have any questions, and keep up the hard work.